If pressing record on the camera makes you a little nervous, I want to tell you that, well, you're not alone. A lot of people struggle with this, and it's one of the reasons that people never end up creating content on YouTube. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle today in today's episode. So stick around and let's figure out how to get more confident on camera. Welcome back to the Video Creator Show, everybody. My name is Augie Johnston. I'm here with my co-host, Grant Ball. Today, we're talking about kind of camera presence and why is it that people get so nervous on camera? So there you go, Grant. There's the first question. Why do you think? Why do people get nervous when hitting record on camera?
I feel like the number one thing is it feels weird because you're talking to a camera, which isn't a person. And it's sort of abstract, like, okay, you're talking to this hypothetical audience, especially if you don't have an audience yet. It literally feels like you're talking to nobody. And this is something that took me some getting used to. Like the first voiceover I ever did, I felt awkward, and I was living in an apartment with like 6 other dudes. And so, it's like, oh, they can hear me talking. And it felt a little weird. So I think that's a big thing, is it feels like you're talking to no one. That's probably the number one reason. Number two, a close second, is that we're worried about how we'll be perceived. So who's going to watch this video? What are they going to think? I think my voice sounds weird. My face is stupid. Blah, 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 blah. It's this sort of like self-reflective stuff that keeps us held back.
Yeah, those are two great points and probably are the two main reasons that people get so nervous. And I remember for myself, I wasn't nervous on camera. I mean, I was filming basketball training tutorials and we were in the gym and my wife had the camera and we were all alone and she would hit record, and it was kind of like coaching in a way where I felt like I was presenting to my team, do this, do that. But as soon as I did like talking head, where like we're doing right now, where I would sit down in front of the camera, I did start to kind of get the sweaty armpits and get like anxiety when I knew I had to film, and then I'd hit record and I felt like I was just messing up. And I went through it that way. And then my wife also started creating content, and I would kind of work the camera for her, and she was creating like beauty tutorials, and she would get super nervous. So this is a common thing, I think. So if you are experiencing this, I would say, it's normal, but
you're not alone.
You're not alone. But well, how do you get over it? Is there something you can do before you hit record, or is there some kind of advice that you can give to somebody on what they should do to kind of get over that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things, right? I think there's a short-term solution, so like things you can do right before hitting record, maybe for the first time, and then things that you can keep in mind over the course of time. I'd say a short-term thing, like a sort of quick way, is to just find ways to lower your anxiety levels in general, to calm your nervous system. So maybe if you can exercise beforehand, or meditate, or hang out with good friends, or just kind of like have a cup of tea or coffee, or like whatever it is that you feel like relaxes you or energizes you, makes you feel more natural, do those things. And you're going to feel a lot more ready for recording. Like, if I'm going to be recording a video, I generally like to get a workout in beforehand, ideally. It's not like a necessity, but it always feels better when I do. So yeah, just calming the nervous system before recording, that's definitely a big thing. And then I think the long-term thing is just keep doing it. Like, the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get with it. And that's probably the most important, is consistency, right? The name of the game.
Totally is the name of the game. It's practice makes perfect with this kind of stuff, because you will feel more confident. And I mean, the first time you do anything, it's always the scariest time. So that's definitely true. But let's go ahead and kind of drill down and give advice on the two things that you mentioned earlier. Like, kind of the biggest obstacle is it just feels weird, right? You're in a room by yourself, you reach over, you press record. I mean, hopefully you're in a room by yourself, right? A lot of YouTubers are out in public vlogging, talking to a camera in public, and that is super scary. And that's something that takes even more practice to get over. But even if you are just alone in your room by yourself, it's awkward talking to a camera. Like, is there any advice or tips that you can give somebody when they're like, okay, this feels weird?
Just imagine the audience in their underwear. That's the best thing, It's a power move in your own brain. But I guess more seriously, I think just be kind to yourself and let yourself be nervous and record. And if you get into the editing and you feel like, oh, I sound super nervous and weird, you can always re-record it. I would say just like don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just when the camera's rolling, say the lines and you'll be good. I also wanted to touch on an important point that I feel like we sort of glossed over, but you mentioned that when your wife was behind the camera, that you felt a lot more comfortable. So another sort of more immediate solution is maybe have somebody help you film. Maybe this person is somehow involved with your creative process. And I've definitely found that if somebody is behind the camera, depending on the situation, that can actually be very nice, especially if you have a rapport with them, you feel comfortable with them, you feel like you're talking to them and not just to the camera. That I think can really help a lot and add a certain amount of chemistry and flow to the recording process.
Yeah, no, I agree. That made me think of something. I mean, when somebody's working behind the camera and you're just delivering your lines and you're making mistakes and stuff, it's like, it's so fluid because they're just, okay, that's okay, go again. And you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go again. When you film by yourself, I don't know what it is, but it's almost like there's this running clock, right? When you hit record and you're starting to deliver your lines, you feel like this clock is running now because you hit record. At least I do. And you feel like if you make mistakes that you need to stop it. Oh no, I'm just going to start this whole clip over, And I've done that many a times where like you record something like 5 times and then you end up, nope, let me just turn that off, delete that clip, okay, I'm going to hit record again this time. But what I would say is don't feel like you're running up against the clock. Hit record, make a million mistakes, let that clip be as long as it needs to be. If it takes 45 or 60 minutes to get through that video, take your time, make your mistakes. That's okay. And also I would say like, just imagine that the camera is a person and you're sitting across from a person and you're giving them tips. You're talking to one person, you're teaching them one thing, and that's another good way, I think, to kind of get over the anxiety, or kind of a technique that you can use instead of thinking, oh, this is going on social media. I'm talking, oh, what if I look bad? It's like, no, you're just talking to one person. That's another tip I came up with. It looks like you're about to say something, Grant.
Yeah, no, I like everything that you just said. I feel like cutting up one long take is way easier than cutting up a billion short takes. And definitely the mindset of just like, I'm just going to let the camera roll and recording, like that feels so much more natural than starting and stopping all the time. Like if you think about it, when you're starting and stopping a bunch, you are really interrupting your flow. So I like that you said that. I feel like that's a good piece of advice. And it's not something that's necessarily intuitive. I think actually when I first started doing voiceover, I would record like one line to one paragraph at a time, and I would kind of like save things individually. And like that was a fine way to get started, but now I literally just leave the mic rolling and I just have one giant piece of audio at the end that I can end up cutting down. So yeah, the more natural and the more you can kind of just let it roll and talk and then deal with it in post-production, the easier it's going to flow, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's such a common thing of like, oh, gotta stop it. Okay. Cause like, VidChop's clients, they won't know how to record. And so I'll try to teach them. I'll tell them, okay, you have an outline. It's either on the screen or it's printed out or whatever. Maybe it's a word for word script, but you can have it on the table. You can look down at it, think, let the camera roll, take your time, then look up and deliver your lines, look down again, and we'll just cut all that part, all those dead parts out. And you think that you looking down for like 60 seconds at a time, it's like, oh, it's so much work in the post-production. It's not. It's literally just, they can see the waveform, right? The audio, they're just like, cut, it's gone. And that whole part is out. But I will say that for me, like when I'm recording in 4K, oh yeah, I feel that timer running. Because that
yeah, okay, that's a big file. That's a big file to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it kind of freaks me out. Is like, okay, yeah, it's kind of getting a little bit long. This footage is in 4K or 8K if it is or something. Then you're like, yeah, there's a little bit of a clock, I guess, there, but no worries, right? Extra data is not going to hurt anybody nowadays, right? These memory cards are getting bigger. The storage is practically free now, so that's not a big deal. But let's drill down now on the other part. Because the other part you mentioned was the voice in your head saying, this has got to be perfect. This is going on social media for the world to
Hmm.
see. I'm nervous. How do I look on camera? How do you get over that? And how do you kind of, yeah, just, get past that?
It's hard. Like, even as somebody who's been doing this for a long time, like, even I still judge myself when I watch a video of myself. I'd say it's a lot better than it used to be. So I guess some things I do, it almost has less to do with the recording process itself, and it probably has more to do with just my general relationship with myself. So, just have practicing self-compassion and spending time with good friends, like, is a good reminder of like, hey, I'm actually pretty likable and cool. That spills over into recording videos as well. I just feel like cultivating self-compassion, community, and all these sort of human things that keep us confident is arguably the most important thing. Like, other techniques you can do, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, calming the nervous system with things like that, like exercise and meditation, or spending time with friends, whatever it is, like, decreasing anxiety is always good. Um, yeah, besides that, like, really just repetition. I know I said I still struggle with it, but it used to be way worse. Like, when I first started, it would take me probably 6 to 8 hours to record like a 15-minute video because I would do so many takes. And now it takes me maybe 30 minutes to record a 15-minute video. Like, that is an insane difference, right? Truly insane.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, 30 minutes to record a 15-minute video is a great goal that a lot of people can shoot for. But at the same time, if it takes you 60 minutes to shoot a 15 or 10-minute video, then that's fine too. I mean,
Hmm.
one piece of advice that I would have for people is, if they do have anxiety and stuff when filming, is like, come prepared. Like, that's like the key to a lot of people's anxiety. I remember
Mm.
back in school, right, when you have to do a presentation, if you're prepared, you're just like, I got
Yep.
this.
Yep.
If you're not prepared, then they're super nervous up there. So coming prepared, having your outline, or having maybe an outline that you've studied, right? Like, not just having the outline, but spending 15 minutes before you ever hit record, just reading through it. That's probably 15 minutes well spent, as far as
Hmm.
anxiety and stuff goes. So when you do hit record, you're confident there. But just know that, yes, putting stuff out onto social media, you will be judged. You should know about
Hmm.
negative comments, and you should expect that, hey, there are going to be some negative comments, and you have to be okay with that before going into it. So that's all I have to say, really, is like, don't worry about being judged, because you're creating when everyone else is consuming. You already got them beat, right? Anybody that puts a comment there, they're a
Preach.
consumer. You already got them beat. You're a creator. So you're already doing better than them. But if you're going to compare yourself to other content creators and you feel like they might be judging on your quality and stuff too, then that's only going to help level you up and help you improve. But hey, you're a creator. You're putting yourself out there. You have to be okay with that.
Hmm. Amen, dude. Bars, preach. I love all of that. Yeah, if you're creating, you're already a cut above the rest. Even if nobody's watching, like, the amount of time that we spend consuming, that most people spend just scrolling and mindlessly, what is the average phone time? Like 5 to 7 hours a day. It's insane. So if you're actually putting effort and inputting to this stream of information that we call the internet, then you're already a winner, bro.
Yeah, and to succeed at anything, you have to put yourself out there, right? If you want to be a good athlete, well, there's going to be a time when you're going to be on the free throw line with the ball to win the game with 0 seconds left, or whatever. You're going to be a time when the crowd, you got a packed house, and you're playing against some great player, and it's going to be you have to guard them, and so that's where growth happens, I think, as in the human race, right? Is when you get outside your comfort zone, and I don't know the exact quote, but it's something like, success and wealth follows the bold. If you're bold, you're giving yourself a chance to make it happen. If not,
fortune favors the bold.
There it is. Fortune favors the bold, man. So that's the quote of the day. That's the quote of the day. And as you're getting nervous, remember that quote.
Yep. As soon as you turn that camera on, you're bold. You're already one of the bold ones. Fortune is smiling upon you. Don't forget it.
Okay, we're getting close to wrapping this up, but I just want to ask you, Grant, because you have so much experience, you've created so many videos in your days. What happens when you create a video, it's finished, it's ready to go, and you're just like, I can't put this out there. This is terrible. I don't like it. What do? Do you actually put it out there or do you not?
So I've done both. I've put it out there when I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And I've also just shelved videos. That always has to be a personal choice. I think the first thing to remember, like, unless YouTube is your livelihood, then really this isn't right. It doesn't necessarily matter whether or not you release the video. It's ultimately, I think, about the relationship with yourself. So I would feel into it. Like, why do I not like this video? Am I being too self-critical? Or is it actually bad? Like, could I make a better version of this video? Is this just my inner critic being valid and actually saying I could make a better version if I just recorded it again and kind of went through the process again? Or is this coming from a place of just self-hatred, right? I think ultimately only you can answer that question. Only I can answer that question for myself. And it's a valid thing that I think has happened to everybody who has made a lot of videos. So some examples of like a video that didn't pan out. There was like a couple of videos with Treesigle where we like tried some bits and it just, the whole premise just kind of fell apart even though the video was done. We're just like, this is cringe. So we didn't release it. That happens. So yeah, you can also show the video to other people. Just kind of get their take. But I will say, like, if you have to like show something to other people to get their approval too much, then like something is probably wrong. If it's occasionally you feel the need to do that, then fine. But I think Charles Bukowski had some quote that I'll paraphrase that was like, yeah, if you have to run your work by other people, then your work probably isn't even that good, bro. Like you don't trust your intuition enough, right? So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no, that was great advice there. And I'll just add that it's on YouTube, people fall in love with personalities. So maybe you are a little quirky or you feel like you're a little bit awkward on camera and stuff like that. That's not always a bad thing. Like you'll find your tribe, people will connect with you because of that. So just be yourself, and do your best to create good videos that keep people's attention and that deliver the message that you want to deliver. And that's all you can do. That's the best you can do right there. And I think there's always going to be a little bit of nervousness when you hit record, and you should try to like equate that to like excitement and just continue to try new things. Like, if you feel like your camera presence is poor, try being over the top, energetic one time, and try being smooth and try to be, more casual another time. And eventually you'll just find your voice and everything will feel comfortable. And everything will be okay. And you're talking, Grant and I, I've created probably about close to 1,000 videos, Grant over 1,000 videos too in his days. And we're telling you that we still get a little bit nervous before we hit record when it's just us. I mean, luckily these podcasts, I don't. And that's one thing I think that, Grant, you enjoy about these podcasts as well, is it just feels different than creating a long form YouTube video. And it feels so effortless. Yeah. So maybe if you can't get over that nervousness on the camera and all that kind of stuff, maybe try podcasting and stuff too. It's just a different vibe.
Right. Just involving another human. It feels more natural. It really does.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I think that's part of the reason that video podcasts have become so popular, is because you can really crank these things out, man. And they're enjoyable. All right. Yep. Let me go ahead and add one piece of advice, and then Grant, you can add your final piece of advice. And my piece of advice for people that are getting nervous before they hit record is to just publish it anyways. Hit record. Maybe it's awkward. Who cares? Get it going, edit it, get it up online, publish it, and then just have bad videos when you first start if you feel like they're bad. That's my piece of advice, because that's what I've seen so many YouTubers do. It's really hard to find anybody that were their first 30 videos that you're just like, wow, they're amazing. They're always need to get better on camera. And I'm sure they were nervous before hitting record. And Yeah. So, but they were able to publish, and look at them now. They're growing a YouTube channel. How about you, Grant? What's one piece of advice that you would give?
Yeah, just do it. Just hit record and try it and be awkward and trust that you will get better and that your awkwardness could even be endearing.
Yep. And there it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are watching on YouTube, we would truly appreciate it. Subscribe, hit like, maybe leave us a comment. Let us know other kind of videos you'd like us to cover. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Later.
Bye, everyone.